How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is another...
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
Yes, this is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age, and this time we are doing...
Wait a minute. You're doing Dell.
Yes, this is Dell Comics.
You said Dell didn't do costume superheroes.
As I said when I did the video for the Owl... Yes, I am plugging my own videos.
Of course you are.
The Dell rarely did heroes, costumed heroes. This is one of the ones that they did do. And this is one that I actually learned about him through Project Superpowers, not because he was in it, but he was part of the character pages that appeared in the back of the comic. That's how I actually learned about him at first. But I couldn't properly review him because I only at first was able to find a handful of issues. I've recently discovered a way to find all of the issues, and I read them, and they were for the power they were interesting enough, but they weren't overly compelling because I think they call him a magician in the first one, but just like any other magician, he had an amazing set of plot armor, and whatever power, besides the base powers like flying and growing big and stuff, he had whatever power that he needed to at the time to be able to fight the criminals that he was going up against. And that's pretty much an unlimited power. Oh, I need this. Here it is. I need that to happen. Here it is. I need the most inexplicable, unexplicable, non-explained thing in the world to happen at this moment and time, in this instance, to make the criminals be beaten. Hey, it happens! Stories like that aren't very compelling because there is no adversity and not a lot to really overcome. I mean, I still want to read the issues. I like the powers. It's too much when there's no problem that can't be solved because I've done it. Now, this one is coming out of Dell Comics, and Dell does have a number of superheroes, and I would like to be able to get into more of them, and it shouldn't take too long to be able to get them all done because there wasn't a lot. Weird of the title that he appears in, and we'll get into that because a lot of times in the Golden Age, when they brought in a new hero and he was really popular, they would change the name of the comic book to something more appropriately matching the hero, and this time they didn't do that. So let's go into Phantasmo on this Lost Heroes of the Golden Age. Phantasmo first appeared in The Funnies number 45 in 1940. The original publisher is Dell, and he is created by E.C. Stoner. And E.C. Stoner, he is actually a very interesting person. He's one of the first African Americans in comic book, one of the first African-American comic book artists, and the creator of Mr. Peanut. He also did a lot of artwork for the first issue of Detective Comics. He's worked for Timely, Street and Smith, EC Comics, Fawcett, and Dell Comics. So, since we cover these publications, I'm hoping to be able to do more of him in the future. So, for every issue of EC, it's funny though, for Phantasmo, it doesn't say E.C. Stoner when it starts off. In every issue it says CORP, which I'm thinking Corporation, 1940, by R.S. Callender. But it's not in a signature format, so that can't be the signature. So I don't know why it starts off like that. Now, Phantasmo, it's a weird thing. He studied to learn his powers, and that's really the only time we go over it. And except for his core powers, all of his other powers are really not defined very well. Now, his core powers is he has the ability to fly and has an astral form that comes out of his real body. And when he has the astral form, he can still have contact with the physical world. So he's got the ability to fly, the super strength, the astral protection form, and the ability to grow. And we're not quite sure what the limit of his powers to grow is. He's gone as big as to be able to pick boats up out of the water and knock planes out of the sky. That's how big he has been able to get. Now, the weird thing is the astral projection, and I'm showing this to you right here. So apparently he has to go out of his physical body to be able to be Phantasmo. And in the very first appearance, he gets this, like, bellhop. He recruits him to work with him. And it's really weird about the bellhop because the bellhop is supposed to protect his physical body when he leaves it to become Phantasmo. But he's, like, double the size of the bellhop. So it doesn't make sense why he would have this kid helping him. Because he is very laissez-faire about his physical body. He just, like, I know he leaves it as soon as he needs to because crime is happening, but he doesn't seem to take care of how his physical body, they're doing stuff. Because, I mean, it's like one time they're on the top of the Empire State Building, this guy leaps off, he immediately becomes Phantasmo, his physical body is standing there on top of the Empire State Building. There's another time when they're out in this, I wouldn't say the Old West, but in an area where they're riding horses, and he leaps out of his body while his physical body is still riding the horse. So, I mean, if you need the physical body, why are you not taking more care of what's happening to your physical body when you leave it? Okay. He appears in the issues of The Funnies. Why they didn't rename it afterward? Because by the time that he appears, they're not showing joke strips anymore, but they're still calling it The Funnies. And it goes from 45 to 63. He is on almost every cover of that. He is the covered feature for most of them. And then, like, let's see, he's not on the cover of 62 and 63. That's Captain Midnight. Now, starting with about, I think it's issue, might be 57 or 58, he starts becoming, or sharing the cover of the comic book. It was issue 57, he shares half the cover with Captain Midnight. And then, from 57 to 61, Captain Midnight takes the cover of the comic, and then Phantasmo is reduced to a little square. And the last two issues, Phantasmo is not on the cover, but he is mentioned. Now, as the feature cover, he is also the featured story until issue 60. 60 would be the last time that he was the featured story. So 61, 62, and 63, Captain Midnight would be the feature cover. And this is from, and it says here on the cover 57, introducing the famous radio feature. So this is the Captain Midnight that appeared on the radio broadcasts. But like I said, he takes over the covers, and then in the last two issues, Phantasmo is not shown, but he is mentioned. Now, Phantasmo had weird powers. I mentioned the other powers that he has, but he had a weird set of powers where, like, he captured some enemies into a ball of energy, which these powers like this only like happened in one issue. And then there was another one where he put himself into a ball of energy and he became a raging fireball. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. And he also has this, like, occasionally this telescopic vision that appears in his head. And I don't know the reasons for why he is seeing the area and things that he's seeing. There wasn't anything that like indicated he needed to look here, but he's looking anyways. So, and it didn't happen in every issue, but it happened in a fair amount. Now, Phantasmo was not above killing the enemies, whether or not he did it by his own hand or by letting them die by their hands. He did not let anybody go that he could. Oh, one more power I forgot to mention. It only happened in one issue. He shrank really, really small. He got these microbes that were being released into the water supply, and he led these microorganisms back to the scientist who created them, so the scientist could drink his own stuff, and it killed the scientist. That was the only time he got shrunk. He did get big a lot. He only had one color difference in one issue, but in most of the issues he has the same outfit. It is the yellow cape with the yellow trunks and the yellow shoes. Now, at first, it's just the trim of the trunks and the boots were also yellow, but like here, later on, even in issue 57, which I think it started earlier than that, they started putting red trim on the trunks and the boots, which made them look a little better, but still, guys shouldn't be wearing just trunks. It doesn't look good. But, except for one issue, which I don't know why, somebody must have messed up with the colors, but after that he goes back to the yellow again for the last two issues. But, I mean, it's a weird creation. And he didn't fight Nazis, but I believed he fought fifth columnists. And in one issue he fought, I'm believing it's the Japanese, because they did the stereo thing where they made people of the Oriental persuasion yellow, and he called them the Oriental Army. Now, in the description on the fan page, they called it, I think they said the Chinese or Japanese, but he called them the Oriental Army, which is slightly less offensive. But, I mean, the whole power sets where he just comes up with these random powers along with his normal powers is just kind of strange. Actually, I think he might have shrunk himself another time. In the issue where he was a fireball, he made himself a small fireball before he became a large fireball. So he shrunk more than once. But he did not have a lot of care for the physical body that he left and came back in. That's about the best that I can do to describe Phantasmo. Fantastical powers that he rarely used other ones besides the main ones, flying, strength, size changing. The stories weren't super compelling because there was nothing he couldn't do. He did get captured more than once, but that was more along the lines of, I need to see what the enemy is being able to do, more averse to, I'm captured because I'm a superhero and that's what happens. But other than that, there really wasn't any stopping him. So, interesting enough with his powers, but not super compelling. So, let's go ahead and cover the first issue. And they kind of seem to be following the same trend. In issue number 63, even the Captain Midnight comic alluded that there would be more issues in the next The Funnies. That's more super common than you would think in the Golden Age. It ended at 63, and then he wasn't seen anymore. Now, he did appear in something called Large Feature Comics number 18. The Large Feature Comics concentrated on one person and did a number of issues based on them. His appearance on Large Feature Comics were his first 4 issues reprinted, and they were done in black and white, which was actually really well done. I think the last story in the large features was color, but the black and white was actually very good. If they start releasing, like, re-releasing Golden Age compilations where they're just completely in black and white with no color, I might actually start adding those to my collection, because some of these black and whites look even better than the colored versions. I mean, if they already do exist, I need to find them, which is why I wouldn't mind finding the large feature comic, because the black and white is really good, and I would love to just have Golden Age compilations of just non-colorized stories. So let's go ahead and get into the first appearance, so you can kind of see what they were doing with this hero and where they would go moving forward with it. Phantasmo, master of the world. High on top of the world's highest mountain stands Phantasmo, the world's greatest magician, and next to him, a Tibetan Lama. Now, for some reason, at the top of each one of the comics, Corporation 1940 by R.S. Calendar. I thought that was the name of the artist at first, but that's not a signature. And I'm not sure what R.S. Calendar is. I tried looking it up. Bid thou farewell, High Lama. Thou hast learned all the mysteries of body and mind, Phantasmo. Wield the power well. A minute's concentration of his power of mind lifts Phantasmo's earthly shackles and sends him hurtling through the skies to his destiny. Back to my own race, my people, after 25 years. So, all it takes is 25 years to learn this? I got 25 years to spare. I'd sure like to possess the powers that this guy has. I mean, I could go without the outfit. I mean, right here on the page where he says, back to my own race, it looks more like a banana hammock than it does trunks. So, as he's standing there high in the sky, he's freaking out the people around him. They don't really know what to make of him. Now, I can understand he wasn't really thinking about it at first, you know. He spent the last 25 years working on these powers, so he didn't consider how it would look to normal people. So, he seems to disappear in a puff of smoke, and we have these two panels of clothing stores. At the same time, in a downtown clothing store, there wasn't anybody. 1 minute, the suit and coat were on the hanger, and then it was gone. It's screwy. Look at the dough. Correct amount, $37.50 for the suit and $45 for the overcoat. And at another store, who put the $26.95 here? Gee, I'm sure I haven't sold a dime's worth in the last hour. Must be dreaming, honey. There hasn't been a customer in the store for I don't know how long. Yeah, back in the day where you could call a girl like that honey and not have to get in any trouble for it. Considering the fact that he's been on the mountain for 25 years, and this is the outfit that he's wearing, number one, where did he get the money? And number two, and I really don't want the answer to this, where was he keeping the money? One of those questions actually needs to be answered, but, you know, both of the questions are being posed. So we do come back and we see him now. Now that I'm like everyone else, perhaps I can enjoy the sights without creating a major disturbance. Yes. So he goes into a nearby hotel as Phil Anson of New York. He's just Phil Anson of New York. Phantasmo registers at an uptown hotel. So he has this boy named Wizard take him up to... Okay, that's 917. Okay, the way that they did the 9 was really weird, because the loop on the bottom of the 9 is so close to the circle part of it, it's almost hard to tell that it's actually a 9. I mean, look how close that is. Okay, so he has Wizard come up to his room, and he says, I'm giving you money to pay to keep a secret. Oh, what's this big secret? And then his astral body comes out of his physical body, because I know you are honest, Wizard McGee, and I'm going to need your help. Who are you anyways? Okay. You're a lot calmer than you should be for what you are now witnessing. I understand the money is good, but you just saw what's essentially a ghost form step out of a man's body that you don't know on the chair in front of you. You should be close to running out of the room right now. So he starts to explain his powers. Master of space. I thought you were master of the world. I can fly on the wings of thought. I can grow small or huge. I can put the Empire State Building on my shoulders and walk with it to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Please don't do that. But I need your help, wizard, to keep my physical body safe when I am away from it. Understand? And this is a very common thing, but you are twice his size. What happens if you just jump out of your body in a situation where he's not able to properly protect you? Which happens in later issues. Like when you're when you're in the jungle and when you're riding horses. Those were... Anyways. They hear that. Did you hear that moan, wizard? It says, "Oh, help." That's not a moan. That is a cry for help. Okay, there's a big difference. Okay. Now, the wizard says it's coming from room 919. I'd love to know how you knew that so specifically, considering you're in the room with wizard. I mean, maybe it's because you're in 917, but I mean, it's coming from the hallway. You can't you shouldn't be able to accurately predict what room it's coming from. Anyways, watch the door. I'm not even going to try and say that name. If anybody heard that yelling when the professor's gag slipped, we're in for it. See, even he says it's yelling. You called it a moan. He's calling it a yell because he was yelling for help. We shoot the professor first. America must never have this great invention. Okay, you didn't find any Nazis. You fought some fifth colonists, but the way you said American implies that you're not. But there's no changing of the letters to make you seem like you're from a foreign country. So Phantasmo suddenly appears in the room. Nice trick. They start unloading their weapons at him. The arrows. The arrows here were kind of unnecessary. Well, the big panel leading into the two small panels. It's kind of unnecessary. I could follow where this is going, but the arrows are really annoying. So they try to shoot at him, and I guess he tosses them out the window because we see all three of them falling one by one. It's a gang fight. Look out for the bullets. Okay. The bullets are being fired on the 9th floor. You guys are on the bottom floor. You shouldn't have to watch out for bullets. What you should watch out for are the 3 bodies that are falling from the 9th floor. Oh, look out for bullets. But let's completely ignore the bodies that are falling on us. Jesus. Okay, these 2 guys on the bottom floor say that these guys have failed and they have to blow up the hotel. And they're not actually being hyperbolic here. Okay, so they get over to, well, he said professor, so we know he's a professor, and he undoes the bonds, and we get a little exposition here. He's fainted with the pain of the burns. It'll be gone instantly. I have learned the secrets of healing from the lamas of Tibet. I don't remember you using those powers at any other time. It's one of those power for the issue things. Okay, so they revive the professor and they ask him what he was working on. My invention for turning salt water into a powerful motor fuel, like gasoline. It would double the wealth of any nation that possessed it. Double? Double the wealth. The earth is majority water. It is more water than it is land. First of all, you're going to wreck the environment by using that much seawater. Second of all, you're going to more than double any nation. I mean, if they're being able to go to the beach, scoop up a little vial of water and turn that into a motor oil type substance to power gasoline engines, I'd say you're going to maybe 100 times the wealth of any nation. I mean, if you're only doubling it, you're really not using that well. You're not using this machine properly. Okay, so he shows off the invention to Phantasmo and Wizard McGee. Meanwhile, in room 819, so he's right below them, 200 pounds of dynamite right under the professor's room. It'll blow him and his friends through the roof. Good Lord. I mean, I don't completely know the blast radius of 200 pounds of dynamite, but yeah, that's a lot. Okay, so he says that they need to get the professor on a plane right away, and he needs to get into a taxi. A few moments after his friend's departure, Phantasmo penetrating the walls notes the sputtering fuse. What? The fuse is below you. I know you didn't hear it, but why did you just suddenly examine what's going on in the room below you? It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing leading to that. And as the explosion bursts through the stone and steel, let's see, it's too late to prevent the blast, but clear the streets before I let the building fall. And that arrow is also unnecessary. Incredibly, the shattered building still remains upright as a tremendous voice urges the crowd to flee. There at last, terrified pedestrians reach safety. A mountain of wreckage crashes down. Okay. I didn't think about it until I got to the end of the story for the very first time, and then I realized, oh God, how did I overlook that? His physical body that he needs to keep protected is in that building. The explosion happened in the building just below. It was in 819. He's in 917. 200 pounds of TNT not only blows up 919, it probably blows up 917 too. So your body is blown up. If for some reason that your body doesn't blow up, which it absolutely did, you just stop the building and then let the whole thing crumble to the ground. The whole building is fallen. You're in room 917. You have just now crushed your body. So not only did your body blow up because of how the proximity of 200 pounds of TNT, even if your body didn't blow up, which it most definitely did, you've crushed it. So your body no longer exists. So you're stuck in this form now. I mean, there is no way your body survives that. It's the golden age. We all get it. But your body totally did not survive. If those dynamiters got wind of the professor's escape, they'll blow the plane. Into Phantasmo mental vision flashes of the plane which carries the Professor Grayling. Attack! How did you know what plane he was in? You're sitting here stopping the building from falling. How did you know what plane that he went in? Okay, the co-pilot is dead. The passenger plane is being riddled with bullets. I mean, you could make an assumption that the plane being fired on is the one that you need to go after, but you were busy stopping the building from falling, so you weren't concentrating. And how in the hell did he get into a plane so fast? I mean, even if there was the possibility of a half hour between freeing him and the airport, you don't get on a plane that quickly. I mean, this plane would have to be like wings up and already moving by the time he got to the airport, and he would have to jump in it. I mean, I'm assuming they're in New York. People don't get to LaGuardia in any amount of time that they would want to. Okay, so we see him growing really fantastically big, and he grabs one of the planes and starts ripping it in half. And I think, even though in a couple of issues he's lifting boats, I think this is the biggest he ever gets. Let's see, those eyes shooting right into them. He's breaking the planes into pieces. So he destroys the planes that were shooting at the professor's plane that he was in, the passenger plane. He decides to follow it all the way to Washington to make sure nothing else happens to it. Once he gets there, instead of saying farewell, he spells it out. If you have break between each one of the letters, you've spelled it out. So while you're flying away, you've just said Farewell. I mean, this guy said farewell, Phantasmo. Why did you spell? Okay, he leaves the passenger plane, and apparently the professor is fine. Phantasmo arrives at the wrecked hotel to find Wizard McGee searching desperately in the ruins. If only I could find Phantasmo's body. He asked me to keep it safe. Touched by the boy's loyalty, Phantasmo decides to end his suspense and disappears into the mass ruins. But suddenly, in his human body, Phantasmo steps out of the wreckage, looking for me. Your suit isn't even damaged. You were blown up because of 200 pounds of TNT. There's no damage to your suit. You were on the 9th floor of a building that was dropped on top of your body. Your suit isn't ripped. I mean, does your physical body contain powers that we're not fully aware of? So the fact that you were blown up and dropped, there's no damage to you or the suit that you're in? Gee, Gee, Wizard. Or, Gee, Wizard, Phantasmo. I mean, Mr. Anson, you're not even hurt. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not a bit, Wizard, but loyalty like yours calls for rewards. How would you like a job as my assistant from now on? And he does assist him through the last issue. Follow Phantasmo and his young friend Wizard through the strange adventures in the next issues of Funnies. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. I didn't finish the DC month the way I wanted to. Some stuff came up. But now that the set months are over, I can always go into some of these DC characters later. There are a couple that I found rather interesting. That did it for this one. If you like this one, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Tell your friends if there's heroes that you think that they might be interested in taking a look at. And always send in requests. It makes me know that people are watching. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.